Welcome you all to the course on Introduction to NGO Management. I am Dr. Manjari Agarwal from School of Management Studies and Commerce, Uttarakhand Open University. And in this session, we will be discussing about the elements of strategy. So in this session, we will discuss the concepts of organizations, organization development, importance of strategic management for NGOs, strategic planning, strategic intent, hierarchy of strategic intent, which includes mission, vision, goals, objectives, and plans. And then we will also take up core values of an organization. So first start with what is an organization. An organization is an entity such as a company, or you can say institution, hospital, or even association, where people work for some specific cause, for some specific purpose. The organization deploys resources for achieving its goals and objectives. Therefore, people who are working for an organization are the pivot for its functioning. In simple terms, an organization is a structured or coordinated group of people with some shared goals and objectives. So they are working jointly for achieving those common goals and objectives. Hence, an organization is a formal or an organized group of people with, as we discussed, with common goals, with common objectives, and the commitment to work together towards achieving those goals and objectives. So it is also interpreted in the basic sense as the manifestation of continuous efforts to organize, to influence, and control human behavior for accomplishing or achieving some desired outcomes or results. So the word organization is derived from the Greek word organon, meaning tool or instrument. So let us first discuss or learn about the term organization from few of the definitions. According to Chester I. Barnard, an organization is a system of consciously coordinated activities or forces of two or more persons. In the words of Uday Parekh, an organization is an entity where the members work together to achieve a goal or a common purpose. Similarly, Coons and O'Donnell defines organization as the establishment of authority and relationship with the provision for coordination between them both vertically and horizontally in the enterprise structure. Lewis Allen states that organization is a mechanism or a structure that enables living things to work effectively together. So the evolution of life in human society demonstrates the need for an organization. As per him, the organization is a mechanism or a structure that enables things to work effectively together, and the basic elements of an organization are the division of labor, a source of authority, and relationship. This is true for all forms of living organizations. So from these definitions, we can deduce few characteristics of organization. We can infer that organization is a structure or a mechanism. It is a composition of individuals and group. It is a system of consciously coordinated activities. Members of organization, they work together to achieve some common objective or purpose or goals. And accordingly, in the organization, authority and relationship are established. All the activities of the organization are aligned for some common purpose. This means that the organization aligns individual objective with the overall objectives. Further, consistent efforts of each member are required for attaining the purpose of an organization. It is therefore arrangement of interrelated parts. It is a group of people with some predetermined relationship or defined relationship. The relationship does not end even if each task has been completed. So therefore, this term organization includes governments, non-governmental organization, companies, partnership, political organization, international organization, charities, NPOs, cooperatives, and even educational institutions. On the basis of the nature, organization is divided into two: for-profit organization and non-for-profit organization. A for-profit organization is established mainly to generate a profit, that is to earn more receipts or revenues than payments. They choose those products or services that brings in profit for the organization. So the main crux is a profit. This could be in form of proprietorship, partnership, limited liability partnership, private limited company, public limited company, and the likes. Such organizations that thrives in the commercial world with money ruling all its decisions. So long-term profitability and stability of revenues are important for gaining competitive advantage. So they are working for gaining competitive advantage. Generally, maximization of the wealth of stakeholders, that includes owners, managers, employees, suppliers, shareholders, and even customers, they are taken into account, they are taken into consideration for the long-term growth and survival of such organizations. Now coming to what are non-profit organizations. The main objective of a non-profit organization is to provide a particular service, or in fact varied services, for the benefit of the community, or you can say the welfare of the community. People volunteer themselves to such services, and for them, mostly salaries or monetary benefits are secondary. Even some of them only work for the social cause, and they work without monetary benefits. So they are working for a social cause or a social purpose. The word non-profit refers to the fact that it is not driven by objective of making a profit. But it does not mean that they are no incomes and they are only funded by donation or charitable grants. But if the income arises, then after meeting all the expenses, the same is again channeled for serving the underserved and for bringing social change. These organizations perform wide range of activities. Say, these could be a variety of economic, social, scientific, cultural, educational, and even awareness activities. These organizations could be charitable organizations, voluntary organizations, community organizations, NGOs, self-help groups, etc. So you also learned in the previous sessions that NGOs are classified as grassroots organization, health and education, advocacy organization, consultancy or research organizations, training or capacity building organizations, and even environmental NGOs and the likes. But it is important to quote here that the term profit is a relative expression. What we are discussing right now, that is, it is a related to but not identical with the basic notion of a surplus of revenues over expenditure. Here profit is a relative expression. Instead of going into technical details of economic profit or normal profit, we are just hereby referring as the surplus of income over expenses. So further, these NGOs, they have a humanitarian intervention for the benefits of citizens and their communities. Or you can say that these NGOs, non-for-profit organizations, they work for some philanthropic causes. Therefore, it is also important to note that NPO, that is non-profit organizations, must aim at developing long-term sustainability. So you can say profit-making organizations are mainly dependent on the profits, which are obtained after selling products and services, after meeting their costs and expenses, whereas not-for-profit organizations are heavily dependent on donations, funding, and assessment for paying its costs and expenses. Now coming to the next topic of discussion is strategy. Whenever we talk about strategy in context to NGOs, we generally think that it is applicable for businesses or companies, and it has some competitive implications. or we think that strategic management is not meant for NGOs. But in the present scenario, even NGOs need to learn a lot about management and strategies. NGOs, in fact, they are adopting strategic management into their functioning in increasing numbers. However, it is used to depict in broad areas of an organization activities. Even an NGO should be managed strategically. So, what is the importance of strategic management for NGO? Non-profits must adapt to complex and at times hostile environments, due to which now many of times these organizations are also adopting strategic planning and management, even their day-to-day functioning. So not-for-profit organizations are mainly dependent on the sponsors and the funding agency. Therefore, they are more concerned regarding their performance, as they are the ones who are paying for their service delivery. And hence, they should be more accountable for the proper utilization of funds. So they need to prioritize fundraising measures and their positioning through specialized knowledge. Such organizations must adjust their conventional behavior pattern so that their efforts are well aligned with their service mission. Further, it is also relevant as per the changing social needs and expectations of society. So we will discuss this term mission a little later in the session only. Many a times, NGOs also face environmental challenges, external disturbances, and operational problems. Further, the accomplishment of their service mission is also dependent upon the group of committed and dedicated volunteers. Therefore, strategic planning will certainly help NGOs to act effectively. Accountability, responsibility, and transparency in their functioning shall help NGOs in establishing their credibility among the donors and funding agencies. Although NGOs generally provide intangible services, but still it is important for them to quantify and measure their objectives on account of their rising demands for accountability, expectations, or you can say performance measurement. Practically, they function with multiple as well as divergent objectives and a variety of sponsors, so that this may sometimes plunge NGOs into goal displacement. Therefore, it is important for you to understand the strategic intent, vision, mission, goals, and objectives of NGOs for increasing the quality of service delivery, for increasing impact and overall organizational performance. It is vital for an NGO to utilize their resources efficiently and effectively, not only for its sustainable growth and survival, but also for building credibility and social legitimacy. Therefore, approaches, tools, and techniques in the strategic management shall help an NGO in resolving operational issues, in reducing inefficiency, in minimizing conflicts, and thereby facilitating organizational development. Now you have already gained an understanding about OD, organizational development, in the previous session. But here let us very briefly discuss it in context to elements of strategy. As you have already know that organizational development is an objectives-based approach, or you can say that it is an effort that intends to bring planned change in the organization. That is to improve an organization's visioning, empowerment, learning, and problem-solving processes. So OD is the process through which an organization develops its capacity so that it can become more effective in its mission. It tries to view the things strategically for ensuring sustainable growth and development of an organization. So OD tries to well knit the management functions with organizational vision, purpose, principles, and structure, so that organization can strengthen itself internally as well as externally. Accordingly, three primary organizational leverage point, or you can say important aspects, are, as you can see in this figure, organizational strategy, organizational design, and organizational culture. These three constitute the important segment. These are very important segments of the Organizational Dynamic Model, ODM. The elements of organizational strategy include mission, vision, goals, objectives, initiatives, purpose, and competitive advantage. The important facets of mission, vision, and competitive advantage describes the focused purpose, future perspectives, and strategic management of an organization. Now, these are accomplished by undertaking various activities, following clearly defined directions, and timely accomplishing goals and objectives. So, objectives, initiatives, and goals shall act as lighthouses on the seashore, which will show the vital direction to the human resources for putting their efforts in the right direction. Efforts of all the individual needs to be rowed or pulled, also guide in allocating the resources among different operations effectively. Strategic alignment between these components and resources will help an organization in gaining sustainable competitive advantage. So the main focus is gaining sustainable competitive advantage. And in case of NGOs, we can also say that it will help in gaining an institutional advantage or strategic advantage. So institutional advantage is attained when an NGO performs its task more effectively and efficiently as compared to the other comparable organizations. Organizational accountability arises when all personnel, all working hands act in a manner that facilitates the effective and timely execution of their roles. Hence, organizational strategies provide overall direction and success method for the entity by allocating resources for achieving some objective or the desired objectives or some set objectives. Now, as you can see, that the second component includes organizational design, which focuses on structure and core competency. The organizational structure is a system in which roles, duties, and activities are identified and subdivided in a particular way that defines an organization's hierarchy. Appropriate and adequate organizational structure is needed to efficiently execute the strategies. Core competency is yet another approach propounded by Prahlad and Hamel, which seeks to identify the areas that an organization should focus its resources and efforts upon. Well, in their efforts, core competencies are the collective learning in the organization, especially how to coordinate diverse production skills and integrate multiple streams of technologies. These are the qualities or abilities which an organization possesses that make it distinct from the other organizations. The core competency of an organization is preserved. An organization can focus on this specialized area. So somewhere it will significantly contribute. In case of NGO, we can say in providing benefits to recipients from the services so delivered. Core competence is the combination of enterprise valuable, difficult to imitate resources and competencies which do not have any replaceable strategic alternative. So this is a definition which is given by Barney in 1995. And hence, in strategic business terms, leveraging implies strengthening the resources and skills of the organization to improve its institutional advantage. For gaining this advantage, core competencies can be leveraged. Identification and effective management of creating strategic advantage. For this, NGOs can create strategic advantages for themselves by strengthening their organizational capabilities. The third aspect, that is organizational culture, also influences strategic decisions. Organizational culture incorporates shared values, beliefs, principles, norms, customs, even premises, even such system and the likes. So they put forth the idea of how the things shall be carried in the organization. So organization culture provide the background for what an organization does. The organization's culture determines the proper way of behavior within the organization. It tends to influence the basic understanding of what people must do or behave under certain set of circumstances or situations. It is not only values that build organizational culture, rather, leadership is also vital for its creation and communication. These values also establishes the credibility of an organization. Leadership is the process of influencing the behavior of others so that they can give their best for achieving predetermined goals and objectives. However, leadership and culture influence each other. How come? Leaders are vital to the creation and communication of their workplace culture, and culture also influences leadership, the style of leadership. So the relationship between leadership and culture is two-way. Leaders are principal designer or creators or developers of organizational culture, and established culture also influences what kind of leadership is possible. Or you can say leadership style is required. Leaders take the strategic decision based on these values, beliefs, and set of principles through the organizational culture. So as you can see, management modeling, striking the balance between strategic and tactical planning, empowerment of employees for effective decision making, coaching, building cohesive teams are some of the key considerations that should be prioritized in order to ensure successful leadership. Organizational strategies, organizational design, and organizational culture must be knitted together seamlessly. Strategy sets the direction and focus. Effective implementation of a strategy needs appropriate and relevant organization design, or you can say structure. While culture helps to accomplish goals by incorporating or including them in the organization's shared values and beliefs. An organization can take synergistic advantages and accomplish results if it considers various factors in the organizational structure while crafting its strategy. So some concept in strategic management can be applied to companies, to small businesses, and even not-for-profit organizations. These organizations can gain operational excellence if it carries out its activities more efficiently than others belonging to the same group. So understanding the strategy and its elements is necessary in order to understand the need and significance of strategic management. So strategy is a term that comes from the Greek word, that is strategia, meaning generalship. In the military, strategy often refers to maneuvering troops into position before the enemy is actually engaged. Therefore, it refers to the military formations of troops by the generals and employing them for a cause, deciding the best course of action, and forcing or influencing the troops for successful execution. In addition, it also involves placing people at the right position, designing tactical and short-term plans so that they can conduct effectively in case of warfare, so that they can conduct execution of activity effectively. So military strategy and tactics are both important. Now let us go through a few definitions of strategy as given by management thinkers and authors. According to Gulick, strategy is the unified, comprehensive, and integrated plan that relates the strategic advantage of the firm to the challenges and environment and is designed to ensure that best objectives of the enterprise are achieved through proper implementation process. In the earlier books written by Igor Ansoff, he explained the concept of strategy as the common thread among the organization's activity and product markets that define the essential nature of the business that the organization was or planned to be in future. Another definition is by Michael Porter. He explains the strategy as creation of a unique and valued position involving a different set of activities. The company that is strategically positioned perform different activities from rivals or perform similar activities in different ways. He further states that the core of general management is the strategy, which he elaborates as developing and communicating the company's unique position, making trade-offs and forging fit among activities. Accordingly, one more definition given by Prahlad and Hamel in 1993. He says that strategy is more than just fit. It is allocation of resources. It is a stretch. It is leveraging of resources. So, strategy outlines priority, aims, or objectives and assists in the design of key policies and plans to achieve certain goals and objectives. Strategy is an integrated set of action that helps in gaining sustainable competitive advantage, or you can say gaining an institutional advantage. It's given by Michael. The strategy is the unified, comprehensive and integrated plan that relates the strategic advantage of an organization in context to the environment. It intends to create a unique and a valued position involving a different set of activities and tries to make trade-offs in the resources allocation in these set of activities and tries to leverage a strategic fit. So strategies offer the appropriate course of action involving the apt distribution of resources required for achieving long-term goals and objectives. So through strategies, you can effectively identify human and physical resources required for your organization and how these can be aptly utilized for achieving the long-term goals and objectives of your NGO. Good strategy with weak implementation or poor strategy with strong implementation will not yield results for an organization. So, appropriate strategic plan is required. Strategies tries to match the resources, capabilities, and core competency areas of an organization with the goals, products, and market for achieving an edge over other firms. Strategies help in establishing symmetry or balance vis-a-vis environment which caters to both external and internal environment. It tries to blend the strengths and weaknesses which are internal to the company with the external factors which demarcates opportunities and threats. So the following are the key questions addressed by the strategy. These are: what is our NGO? What it should be? Which type of NGO we are? What should the organization be doing? What are the ends we seek and how we can achieve that? What can our NGO do to achieve goals and objectives? What are the most important trends we should respond to? How shall we act as per the trends identified?